All right, let's talk about downsizing. I know, it's a massive decision, isn't it? It can feel like you're closing a really important chapter. But what if we looked at it differently? What if this isn't about giving something up, but actually about gaining something incredible? We're talking about freedom, real freedom, from all that endless yard work and upkeep, and the freedom to start a brand new chapter completely on your own terms. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with this idea of a new chapter, then get into the nitty-gritty of shared living. After that, we'll put condos and townhouses head to head, look at planning for the future, and finally, help you figure out how to make the right choice. So let's get into it. First off, if you're even thinking about this move, you are definitely not alone. So many people are making this exact same shift, trading that big family house for a life that's, well, just simpler. They're looking for that amazing lock and leave lifestyle. The ability to just pack a bag, lock the door, and head off to see the grandkids or travel the world without worrying for a second about who's mowing the lawn.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. This isn't about square footage or how many bathrooms you have. Forget all that for a minute. This is about how you want to spend your time, your energy. It's a choice about what you want the next 10, 20, 30 years to look like. You're not just buying a different set of walls. You are absolutely buying a whole new lifestyle.
Okay, section 2. This is a big one. No matter if you're leaning towards a condo or a townhouse, you're about to enter a whole new world. Association life. Here in beautiful British Columbia, we call it strata living. And trust me, if you're coming from a single-family home, getting your head around how a strata works is probably the biggest and most important shift you're going to make. So what is it, really? Well, put it this way. You're no longer the king or queen of your own castle. You're becoming part of a team. You're a member of a community that co-owns and shares responsibility for everything. The roof, the gardens, the hallways, all of it. And that shared responsibility comes in the form of monthly strata fees. It's a huge change. So let's break down what it really means for you. I get this question all the time. Where does all that money actually go? Well, here's the breakdown. A big chunk goes to all the stuff you'll be thrilled to stop worrying about. Things like roof repairs, painting the building, landscaping, all handled for you. Then you've got your amenities like pools or gyms, the building's main insurance policy, and services like garbage collection. But see that last slice? The one for the reserve fund? I want you to burn that into your brain. It is so important for the financial health of the whole community. And that leads us right to this monster question. Think about it. When you own a house and the roof goes, that's your problem and your problem alone. In a strata, it's everyone's problem. But how on earth does a whole community come up with, say, $100,000 for a new roof? The answer to that question tells you everything you need to know about how well the place is run. And here's the answer, the Contingency Reserve Fund, or as you'll hear it called, the CRF. It's basically the community's big shared rainy day fund. Every month, a piece of your strata fee goes into the savings account. Now, if that fund is healthy, a big project is no big deal. But if it's too low, well, that's when you can get hit with something called a special assessment. And that's a nasty surprise. A one-time bill that could be for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. So here's your homework, and please don't skip this. You have to read the strata documents before you even think about buying, especially the depreciation report. It's the building's financial crystal ball. It's not just about money, though. There's another side to this coin. When you join a strata, you're agreeing to live by a shared set of rules. You'll see them called bylaws, or sometimes you'll hear the term CC&Rs. That's just a fancy way of saying there are rules for everyone. And this is the core trade-off, right here. You're trading a little bit of your personal freedom for a whole lot fewer responsibilities. And what kind of rules are we talking about? Well, pretty much everything. The color you can paint your front door, what you can and can't plant in your garden space. A big one is pets. Many stratas have strict rules on the size, breed, or even the number of pets you can have. Thinking about a new kitchen, you've got to get approval from the strata council first. The whole point is to keep the community looking good and running smoothly. But yeah, it's a big change from being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. All right, now that we've all got a handle on strata life, let's dive into option number 1, the condominium. The easiest way to think about it is like owning your own apartment, but with awesome perks like a pool and zero stress about the roof. This is the absolute ultimate in lock and leave living. And this is pretty much what comes to mind, right? A building with lots of homes inside, shared hallways, elevators, all that stuff. It means you're living a lot closer to your neighbors than you probably are now. That can be amazing for building community, but it's also fair to say you'll have less privacy. Now, this is a really interesting part to get your head around.
In a condo, what you actually own is the space inside your unit. You'll hear realtors say from the studs in, basically from the drywall inwards, it's yours. But the building itself, the foundation, the roof, the lobby, the land it sits on, that's all common property that you share with everyone else. And that's exactly what your strata fees are for, maintaining that huge shared investment.
So let's lay it all out. The pros? They're pretty great. You've got amazing convenience and security. No more maintenance ever. You get access to cool amenities. They're often cheaper to buy. And here's the big one for thinking ahead. It's all on one level. Now, the cons. You're sharing walls, floors, and ceilings, so you might hear your neighbors. Your only private outdoor space is usually a balcony. And yeah, hauling groceries from the underground parking up an elevator, it's a thing.
Okay, on to our next option. What if a condo just feels a little too much like an apartment for you? Well, that's where the townhouse comes in. You can think of it as the happy medium. It gives you that real house feeling, but you still get some of those great strata benefits. You can see the difference right away, can't you? A townhouse usually has its own front door right at ground level, no shared hallways to walk down, and maybe the best part, nobody living above you or below you. It just has that feeling of a proper home. And the ownership is totally different from a condo, too. Here, you generally own the whole building, from the foundation right up to the roof, plus the little piece of land it sits on. What you're sharing with your neighbors are things like the internal roads, maybe a community garden, or visitor parking spots.
Let's talk pros and cons. The pros are huge for a lot of people. It really feels like a house. You get your own attached garage, so easy for groceries, and you get a little patch of dirt to call your own, a small patio or yard. And you get a lot more privacy. But, and this is a really big but, the cons are serious. Number one with a bullet, stairs. Almost all townhouses have them, and that's a massive deal when we think about the future. You're also usually on the hook for more of your own maintenance, and they often cost a bit more than condos. Okay, this next part might just be the most important thing we talk about today. We have to think about the future. I'm talking 10, 15 years down the road. The home that's perfect for you today has to also work for the you of tomorrow. We need to have a serious conversation about aging in place.
And when you look at it through that lens, the difference between a condo and a townhouse becomes crystal clear. A condo, being all on one floor with an elevator, is built for the future. It can handle a walker, a wheelchair, no problem. A townhouse with stairs? Well, those stairs might be fine today, but they could honestly become the one thing that prevents you from staying in your home down the line. It's a tough thing to think about, but it's so important. So I want you to take this checklist with you, mentally or even on a piece of paper, when you look at places, and ask yourself these honest questions. Number 1, if I had to, could I live my entire life on just one floor? 2, how hard is it really to get from the car to the kitchen with a load of groceries? 3, are there any steps to get into the house or into the shower? And 4, is there enough space for a live-in caregiver if that day ever comes? Thinking this through now will save you so much stress later. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of information, haven't we? From strata rules to future-proofing your life. So let's pull it all together. Because in the end, this isn't about which option is the best. It's about which lifestyle is the best for you. So here's the bottom line. You should choose a condo if your top priorities are total convenience, the freedom to travel worry-free, and knowing that mobility will never be an issue. But you should choose a townhouse if what you really want is that house feeling, more privacy, and a little space to garden, and if you are truly confident that stairs are not going to be a problem for you in the future. And that brings us right back to where we started, remember? This isn't just about selling a house. It's about designing the next incredible chapter of your life, one that's all about ease and community, and the freedom to do what you love. So the only question left is, which lifestyle is the one that's going to launch your next chapter?